Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream edition of the World Elite Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Abear. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, my co-host, Jordan Johnson. Jordan, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, and if you can't see, I'm in your kitchen once again for the third straight show.
Third straight show. We want to apologize to everyone for coming on a little bit later than what we were supposed to. Jordan was having some issues with my laptop he's using. Then I came back in the room and my headphones were dead. I went to use my wife's headphones. They're also dead. So I had to go search around the kitchen for my AirPods, and they were having trouble connecting. So luckily, we finally got everything done, and we're ready to roll. But as you can tell, today we have a major episode today. It's a quadruple prediction show. I don't remember the last time we even had one of these types of shows. But I figured for a big show, we had to have a big guest on the show. Now, he has been on our show multiple times, and we had him on once in the show's new era. But I figured for a big show like that, we got to bring on someone real good. And if you don't know the face by now, you see him every night on Circle of Debate. It is Justin. Justin, how you doing today, man?
What's going on, World Elite? World Elite. What is up, guys? Always happy to be here. You know that. Feels like there's always like a giant gap between my appearances on here, but man, I love coming back here for you guys.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And also happy college football 26 release day to anyone who got it. I know I've been smacking Jordan around a little bit on the game before we hopped on here. So yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot of fun for sure. Great game, by the way, for anyone who hasn't checked it out yet. I would definitely recommend doing so. But yeah, we have a lot of wrestling this weekend. I told my wife we had a lot of wrestling, and she wanted to leave the house this weekend. Whenever I told her how much we had, I said, we got 3 shows on Saturday. We got 1 on Sunday. She was like, yeah, I'm either going in the room, do something, or I'm going to meet mom for the night or something like that. So I said, well, you got to watch it. I said, just go in the room or something. I said, I'll come meet you after. But yeah, we got a lot of wrestling. So I figured, why not waste anyone's time? We got a lot of shows to predict. I know most shows, 2 shows only have like 3 confirmed matches. AEW's got 8, and I think Evolution so far 7 confirmed for the weekend. So I figured, why not start off with one of the smaller shows, and that is NXT. And we have the Great American Bash at the same time as AEW All In. First of all, Justin, I'll start with you, man. What is the thought of NXT battling up at the same time with AEW? You think it's a good move? I mean, this is AEW's WrestleMania, and NXT is putting a random Great American Bash against it.
I mean, if you've seen me have my kind of moments on Circle of Debate, I am never a fan of these head-to-head shows like this, because I want to watch both. I want to be able to watch both. I hate to have to wait the next day to watch this kind of stuff. Like, I like when we usually do the watch-alongs and we can do like one right after the other. Like if Great American Bash was on earlier and then it led right into All In, which would have been great. Because honestly, Saturday night's main event, not really that excited for that as a whole. But like, I wanted to be able to see, NXT do Great American Bash, even though the card's a little weak. probably one of their weaker cards that they've had lately. I'm actually like looking forward to seeing it because I want to see like what they're going to give us. But it sucks because we're going to be focusing on All In, and I hate these kind of situations. I've never been a big fan of them. I get what it is. It's WWE trying to take like any kind of attention off of AEW by giving them another show. And it's like, for if you are a dedicated WWE fan and you do not care about AEW, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get this, and you're going to get Saturday night's main event. So you got your WWE fill for Saturday. But it's like for the wrestling fans that want to be able to watch all of it, and they have to basically pick and choose. Like, that is the part that always just comes off just annoying, because you're going to get those toxic fans online with all the tribalism and everything. Like, look at you guys. You couldn't even produce a good enough card to counteract this, but you still put it out there anyway. It's like, come on. Just be a wrestling fan and watch the damn shows. Enjoy any show they're giving us right now. And I never been a fan of this. Never been big on it.
Yeah, that's one thing that really bugged me about all the shows that's going on this weekend, and especially NXT going up against AEW is the tribalism. That's one thing I hate about. That's one thing I hate about the IWC in general is just the amount of tribalism that you see. And honestly, AEW is good for wrestling. NXT is good for wrestling. So is the main roster in WWE, and even getting an all women's pay-per-view on Sunday. I mean, it's all good for wrestling. So instead of saying, oh, of AEW, they're in a 40,000 plus stadium, but can only sell half of it, and making jokes about the tarps in the stadium and whatnot, things, just enjoy it. I mean, they want AEW for All In to get the amount they get every single year. The first year they did All In at Wembley, man, the number they had there was fantastic. And it's almost like they're expecting AEW to do that every single time they do it. But really and truly, all you did was see the numbers decrease. And that's all you've seen. But I mean, the card this Saturday is unbelievable for All In. I mean, you're expecting Tony Khan to put on a WrestleMania caliber type card. And man, this guy has like a triple, even a quadruple type main event for All In. I mean, for this card, this card is fantastic for a casual viewer. Like I'm not a casual viewer of AEW by any means, but man, I gotta credit him for this card, man. He put on a really good one, and then I really think it has the chance to be the best show of the week, easily. Yeah, Jordan, what about you, man? What do you think about all the shows going? NXT going head to head with AEW. I mean, do you think it was a good move by NXT? I know they're doing it the same day as Saturday night's main event. And then obviously Evolution on the Sunday. Do you even think those three shows together can even put together what AEW is doing right now?
Yeah, I'm ready for it, all the wrestling. We all wrestling fans, so I can't wait for this weekend and watch them all.
Right. Yeah. So to anyone with the tribalism, stop the shit, man. Just enjoy wrestling, enjoy what's going on this weekend, and just have a great time and watch it, and just don't hate on anybody. So we'll start off with our first show, NXT's Great American Bash. Only 3 matches so far confirmed on the card. I will bring up the card now. Jordan will handle the overlays for me. First, we'll start with let's start off with the NXT champion right away. I mean, this is one that's kind of underwhelming to me. But Obafemi is defending the NXT title against Yoshiki Inamura, and he's going to have Josh Briggs in his corner. For the predictions, we'll go Justin, then Jordan, and I'll close them out. So, Justin, who is walking away with the NXT title?
Now, I've been a big fan of Inamura. I didn't know jack squat about him before he came to NXT. But ever since he's gotten there, I've been enjoying everything he's really been doing. Even when he did that whole thing where he ended up leaving and then teasing that he was leaving, shall I say, and then coming back so Briggs could be like, oh my God, I got my tag team partner back. Let's go. And I was like, yes, this is a really interesting little story you're telling. And then he comes out there and confronts Oba. And I'm like, you know what? Something about it could be dope. And I'm actually slightly looking forward to it. But I know a lot of people don't really feel that way because this card does kind of feel a little light compared to most NXT shows. But I just feel like they could actually give us a good banger because honestly, right now, Obafemi's been fantastic. Inamura is great. So I could see this being an underrated matchup, big time. But I don't see Inamura winning that title. I think this is going to continue the reign of Obafemi because right now, I just genuinely don't know who takes that title off of him. He could end up doing the Oscar route where he goes in there, holds the title until he's ready to get called up, and he just drops it, just vacates it, and says, "Anybody want it? Go ahead, go fight for it." Now at this point, I'm out. Like that's the only thing I could really see because Inamura is tough, and it's tough for him to really like say that he's going to be the one to do it. It would just feel random, but I don't see Oba losing this title.
All right. Yeah, I think this match gonna be a banger, but I got a Oba Finney retaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something tells me that we're gonna see something like. For one, it's not gonna be a clean finish to me because I think Jasper Troy somehow gets in this. I mean, when we did our mid-year awards, I did say Jasper Troy was the guy that you need to look after at the end of this year, and I think he's gonna stick his nose into this. I mean, I really don't see this ending clean. I think Obafemi does retain, and yeah, for one, I do agree that he will have some sort of like Oscar route where he's not going to drop it at all. It's just he gets called and he has to relinquish it. So yeah, I think Oba wins, but it's going to be better than what people are expecting. People may think, okay, Obafemi's going against this guy, it's going to be a squash, whatever. No, it's not at all. I think Inamura is gonna take him to his limit, but at the end, yeah, Oba is gonna walk away with that title. So then we got our next match. It is the fatal influence of JC Jane and Fallon Henley. It's the first of two matches for JC Jane of the weekend, and they're taking on Jordan Grace, which is also her first of second match, and the debuting Blake Monroe. Justin, who you got?
Honestly, I go with the baby faces winning here. And that really is bizarre because right now the biggest wrench in this is the announcement that TNA made. The fact that they are doing title versus title, and it is for both championships. Now, first off, you heard me on Circle of Debate. I don't know how I feel about that because honestly, what is the main goal of somebody winning both titles? That's so difficult to go about. What is your direction from there? But I honestly think the baby faces win this because it's going to play a big part into what happens at Evolution, honestly. But I don't see Blake Monroe losing her first matchup, honestly. So I genuinely believe that this is where the baby faces go over first, which then will lead on to the bigger thing at Evolution.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I think this also plays a big factor into what happens at Evolution. I don't see Blake Monroe losing her first match there, but also I do see something different happening at Evolution for the NXT title. I guess I'll go Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. I think Blake's her debut is at higher stake than that. So yeah, I'll go Jordan and Blake in this one. And then we have the third match. There's going to be more confirmed. I mean, but it's just this is all we got right now, so that's why I figured do it first. The NXT North American Women's Championship is Sol Ruka and Izzy Dame.
See, this is tough. This is tough because right now, NXT kind of feels like the one story that they were telling was the eventual turn of Zarya on Sol Ruka. It almost feels like we've dropped that because there hasn't been a single sign of that since that moment in that ladder match. Yet we've had multiple times where Zarya's miscommunicated and taken out Sol. There's that moment where during Zarya's one-on-one match with Kalani Jordan where she absolutely went ruthless on her in front of Sol and didn't give a damn. So it's really difficult because I want them to honestly go through with that story. I want to see that story. But I feel like you would have to involve the Women's North American Championship with that. It would have to be Sol retaining. But right now, it almost feels like we're really starting to invest in the culling. So if
Mhm.
Izzy Dame might pull this off, honestly, she could do it. The culling could get their first amount of gold because honestly, they're focusing on the tag team titles as well with Spears and Nico right now. So
Mhm.
anything is possible at this point going forward. I want them to continue with the story, but I could see them having them continue with the culling, pushing the culling, and then eventually just doing Soul and Zarya, where Zarya goes, you couldn't even keep the title. And that's the one thing I wanted from you, but I couldn't even get it from you because you had to lose it. So that would
Mhm.
encourage more of a turn, and then we just get a one-on-one between the two. So honestly, I got Izzy Dame winning the title here.
Okay.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna go Izzy Dane too.
See, something about me wants to go Sol Ruka to retain, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, you were talking about the potential in turn with Zarya and whatnot, but I think Sol Ruka holds on to it until that turn potentially happens, and I think Zarya could be the one maybe taking it off of her. So
Yeah.
I'll go Sol Ruka to retain. She'll hold it, I think, until the turn happens, and then we see the title change. We get the big anticipated matchup. They're too good of friends right now. So I think you have to eventually lead to that turn at some point. So before we move on to our next show, what is the hype level for Great American Bash? I know we only have 3 confirmed right now. There is some to come. So what you got?
I'd say because it's most likely a pay-per-view out of 10,
Mm-hmm.
probably about like a 6-ish, 5.5 around that area. Because it's just like a very, this is a very weaker card for NXT as a whole, but it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be a terrible show. It's not like something you're probably not going to rewatch,
Right.
but it's probably just going to be a show where you're going to be like, all right, that was fine. I enjoyed myself watching it in the end, and they put on some good matches, and that's probably about the gist you're going to get for the night. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go 6.5.
I think the fact that it's going against AEW kind of kills a lot of people's hype level for it because, I mean, you compare the card for each of them. I mean, Tony Khan's already built a WrestleMania caliber card for All In, and then you got the Great American Bash happening. I mean, I for one, will be watching both shows at the same time, but something about it just does not excite me whatsoever. I mean, so I'll lean more towards like the 5.5 out of 10. Something about me just, I don't know, not exciting at all.
yeah.
All right, so now we move to a rather more exciting pay-per-view of the weekend, AEW All In from Globe Life Field in Dallas, Texas, home of the Texas Rangers. I'm looking forward to this show. So we'll start off with the TNT Championship. I believe one of the most recent matches that was made on the card.
Mhm.
Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher. Justin, who you going with, man?
This is sad to say, but
Mhm.
Adam Cole is at probably the lowest he's ever been in the longest time right now. It
Yeah.
is sad to see right now in AEW. His TNT title run has been
Mhm.
weak as hell. It is incredibly weak.
Mhm.
I honestly think with the way they've been handling the Don Callis family, I think Kyle Fletcher gets this. And I think he should get this because I love the way they've been treating Kyle Fletcher in the long run. And I
Mhm.
wish they do better with Adam Cole. But honestly, I could see when it comes down to it, Adam Cole's gonna leave. When his
Mhm.
contract's up, he's out. He's gone. He's going back to NA. He's going back to WWE. Where Triple H will take care of him. He'll get pushed. He'll be freaking main eventing, and it'll be great for him in the long run. So Fletcher wins the title here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Kyle Fletcher too.
Yeah, I'm 100% going Kyle Fletcher on this one. And like I stated way before we even got to this, I'm not a casual. I for one want to become a casual viewer, but they got to do something to entice me a little bit more. But Kyle Fletcher, his match at Revolution with Will Ospreay, that steel cage match, probably one of the best matches I've watched all year. And I think his performance there and what he's been doing since, I think for one deserves the TNT championship from this. So yeah, I think Kyle Fletcher beats Adam Cole. And yeah, I definitely agree with you, Justin. I think Adam Cole does not resign back with AEW. But where does he go after that? Does he come back to Papa H or?
Yeah, I think he's going back to WWE. Triple H in charge, the way Triple H handled him in NXT, he's going back there in the main roster. He will be there in a heartbeat. He could come back in the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Everybody would know who the fuck he is. They'd lose their minds right there. Adam Cole's back. Triple H will absolutely use him on the main roster, and it will be leagues better than sadly what he's done in AEW.
Yeah, the sad part is with Adam Cole is I was so invested when they had that storyline with the devil and how embarrassing the outcome was from that. That was awful. Right. I expected so much better from it, but yeah. All right, so we move to a match where I have absolutely zero to offer. I don't know who's in it or anything like that. It's the women's casino gauntlet match. I don't even know who's in it. I don't even know who the favorite is in this. So that's why I put the men's and the women's like head to head because I really don't know much. The men's I know like maybe 3 people that's in it because they advertised it on a separate graphic. But as far as the women's, I have no idea. I have zero clue who's in this.
Right now, I can tell you one person, and that's it. And that's the person who's entering first in it, and that's Chris Statlander.
Okay.
He's entering first in the gauntlet. So far, they're doing a fatal 4-way to determine who's entering second Wednesday night. And apparently, my wild guess is whoever's been in those fatal 4-way matches is basically who's going to be in the gauntlet. Like Ty Mello's probably going to be in there. Megan Bain's probably going to be in there. Tekla's going to be in there. It's going to be basically the women that you'll see on Collision are probably going to more likely be on there, but you'll see some Dynamite women on there as well.
Right. So who's your pick to win this?
This is the toughest one with the women because honestly, like my instant immediate one would say Chris Statlander. Like as much as it doesn't seem possible with her entering first, it would make sense in the long run because if she puts on a hell of a performance from the starting position and just you see all these constant entrants over and over and over again, and she's still going. If that performance slays, she goes in there and wins the champ. She basically is the guarantee for a lot of people to say if she wins the gauntlet, she's winning the women's championship. The question is right now, though, her turning heel has been the big question here after her interacting with Marina Shafir on AEW TV. Marina helped her win the number 1 spot in that qualifying match, if you want to call it that. So honestly, she's really the only one in there that's kind of got a story attached to something right now that her winning that matchup would make sense. Everybody else is just there. It'd just be a waste to give it to anybody else at that point. So honestly, I would go with Chris Statlander winning the women's.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chris Statlander too.
So I guess to be a little different, I'll go Willow Nightingale if she's even in the match. Like that's the history I have sometimes picking people that's not even in a match. I mean that's something I do sometimes. So hopefully she's in it, and if she wins it, but yeah, like you said, Chris Statlander kind of has like the most stories, tied to her with this. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Statlander. But just to be different, I'll go with I go Willow Nightingale.
Okay.
So we go from the women's to the men's. I said I know like maybe 3 people that's in it that was like advertised on the picture that AEW posted, but it's the men's casino gauntlet match. I don't know.
This is another one. It's just like I wish we knew at least most of the participants because you can tell, from these matches, you're going to get some either surprise returns, surprise debuts, something. But you can't always just immediately guarantee that the return / debut is going to be the one to win it. It just doesn't. I've seen a lot of people say, what if Adam Copeland shows up in this one? I hope to God, because he does not, because if Adam Copeland's in this gauntlet, Adam Copeland's going to win the damn gauntlet. And we don't need another Adam Copeland in the main event situation after that feud with John Moxley went so wrong. It was really bad. It's honestly, if I had to pick, I seen somebody throw this one out there, and honestly, I wouldn't be against it. Think of somebody right now, and it would be a returning person winning. There's one person who's been out quite a while, and I know, again, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense story-wise, because what are we going to get out of that if he does? But what if Eddie Kingston comes back? Man's been out with a really bad ankle injury for so long. You bring him back in the gauntlet, he wins the gauntlet. Could work. My other concern, though, is going to be Darby Allin. If Darby Allin is in this gauntlet, Darby's winning the gauntlet, which then makes me a little concerned about the main event at that point. So I'm really iffy on this one right now, because I wish I knew more entrances. I wish I could think of somebody that would make any sense to win this one. My guess, I'm just going to say Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston comes back. I think Eddie wins it.
Okay.
Yeah, I might go with Darby Allin if he comes back.
If Darby Allin comes back, I think that gives a major spoiler for the main event, and it's a spoiler that really nobody wants as far as storytelling goes. If Darby doesn't come back, I think we get a different result in that main event. But I was kind of leaning between the two picks that y'all made. I'll go Eddie. I'll go Eddie Kingston to come back. He's been out for quite some time. Haven't seen his face in a long time in AEW, so I like to see him come back and win it. So yeah, I'll go Eddie. All right, and then we got the AEW Tag Team Champions. It's a three-way tag match for the titles. It's the Hurt Syndicate of Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, and versus Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. Who you got, Justin?
See, before I just randomly just saw this, that the patriarchy was involved in this matchup, which, why are they involved? That is utterly ridiculous. Makes no sense. Literally, the Hurt Syndicate has not interacted with them whatsoever, but you threw them in there because, of course, we can't keep Christian off the card. I hate their story right now. It's honestly just boring, because the gist of it right now is this. They had a three-way on Collision. That is freaking lame, dude. It's still lame as hell. I hate the patriarchy story right now, because honestly, the gist of it is right now, everybody keeps talking about in a future FTR versus Copeland and Christian matchup. My thing is this. I talked about this with Bakley, and I talked with TK about this, and the biggest issue here is, how do you get anybody to believe that Christian's going to turn babyface in this situation? Because genuinely, where he's at right now, the way he's been treating Nick Wayne, if Nick Wayne eventually snaps on Christian and kicks Christian out of the patriarchy, ain't a damn person going to feel bad for Christian. Nobody's going to go, Christian, man, you shit talked your own sons for so long. You trash talked his mother, everything like that under the sun. You call everybody's father. You would pick on that for everything. How are we supposed to root for that? How do you feel bad for that immediately? Because Nick Wayne finally grew a set and said, bro, I'm tired of you. You aren't my dad. I don't need to listen to you. Like, that is the most nonsensical thing, where I don't know how you turn Christian babyface. There is no way. So honestly, whatever the patriarchy story is, I don't care where that goes at this point. I was really intrigued with the Hurt Syndicate and the Jet Speed part of it. Just the fact that Jet Speed kept coming back, fighting, and would get beat down and come back for more. Nonstop, just beat downs, and they just nonstop keep coming back. That was an amazing story to keep going about that. I would have said we were going to have new tag team champions, honestly. That would have been a hell of a moment for them at All In. Jet Speed beating the Hurt Syndicate. But now I just don't see the Hurt Syndicate dropping the titles. I don't think they lose the titles. I think they just basically gave it away now that the Hurt Syndicate's going to retain. If they kept it just the two teams, it could have been there was a chance you could have had new champions, but you just made it completely obvious now. And I think the Hurt Syndicate retains.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they retained the titles.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The patriarchy added to this match was a little bit unnecessary. For one, I would have picked the Hurt Syndicate to retain no matter what. I don't love what they're doing with Bobby Lashley right now in AEW. He's been a tag team ever since he got there, really. So I think they're wasting him right now. So I would love at one point they drop titles, he goes on his own and actually dominate on the singles part of things. But yeah, I mean, for one, I don't see the patriarchy winning. I don't see Jet Speed winning, even though I do like the team of Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. But yeah, I'll go with the Hurt Syndicate to retain, and I keep going with it.
Okay.
So now we got a match with some pretty cool intentions with this match. The stipulation with this is really cool. I think I talked about it with TK on the rebirth of his show this past Thursday. But it is a tag team match between Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay against the Young Bucks. Now, if Ospreay and Strickland lose, they cannot challenge for the World Championship for 1 year. But if the Young Bucks lose, they will be stripped of their EVP titles. So a lot at stake for this one. Who are you going with, Justin?
See, I love this. This matchup has me one of the more excited, like the most excited on this one right here, because this is tough. This is one really, really tough situation to put yourself in, because genuinely, if you think about it, right now, the EVPs, yes, the Bucks are EVPs. We understand that. We've been told that multiple times. We know they have some kind of power on running the company, actually. But they use the EVP thing as a character on television, which works. Genuinely, them losing the EVP spot is it doesn't really feel like something to be like, okay, cool. We know they're actually out of position now, because they're still going to have that position. It's just not going to be an on-screen thing where we're going to see it, which fine. I get that. The added bonus here, I call it a bonus, of Swerve and Ospreay saying, listen, if we can't win this matchup, we won't challenge for the World Championship for a whole year. This is going to sound bonkers coming from me right here. But honestly, I think you can still make it work of having Swerve and Ospreay not challenge for the World Championship for a year, because technically they could feud with each other. Everyone's going to wonder, what do you do with Ospreay and Swerve if they can't challenge for the world title for a whole year? Well, you have them feud with each other for most of the year. Yeah. It'd be good. Like, Ospreay is the one. He's the one who threw out the stipulation. Swerve was looking a little hesitant on that one before he accepted that. If Ospreay messes up and loses this matchup, that could be the start of them two feuding for the year, for most of the year, which would cover a lot of it, which would make a lot of sense. Swerve gets pissed off at Ospreay because he went along with it, and they were both so dedicated to take the EVP spots away from the Bucks, but they couldn't get it done. And now Swerve's gonna get pissed off at Ospreay. Swerve turns heel. You feud with Ospreay. You put on friggin' 6 bangers for like half a year. I'm with it. I think it's great, honestly, right now. So, in all seriousness, as much as I wouldn't be against the Young Bucks losing the EVP spot, I think you get a little bit more interesting take if Ospreay and Swerve lose. So, you know what? I'm going the Bucks winning the match here.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Young Bucks, too.
All right, I'll go with the Young Bucks as well, because I absolutely love everything that Justin just said about them feuding with each other and not being able to challenge for a year and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's better if that happens. If the Bucks lost their EVP roles, then I would love if they maybe went back to their old selves, like Super Kick Party and wearing the flashy colors and whatnot. But I think if you're gonna take them winning and have the feud of them two with Osprey and Swerve, I would take that a hell of a lot more than having the Young Bucks just going back to their old selves. So you got to think about storytelling. You got to think about the matches you got to potentially get out of it, and make the correct pick right there. So I'll go with the Young Bucks to go and win this match. So next, we have a winner take all match to unify the AEW Continental Championship and the AEW International Championship to make the inaugural AEW Unified Championship. I don't love the name, by the way. Kazuchika Okada, who is the Continental Champion, taking on Kenny Omega, who is the International Champion. Justin, who is walking away with that brand new title?
Now, see, I'm with you. I did not like the name. You literally could have just said Intercontinental. I don't care how many people out there would have said, "Oh God, you're copying WWE because you called it the Intercontinental title." Do you realize New Japan had an Intercontinental title before they got rid of it? So come on. There was no copying WWE there. They had an Intercontinental title. You could have just called the Intercontinental title. It would have made sense. The Intercontinental Classic going forward instead of Continental Classic still would have made sense. It would have been fine. Didn't have to be for the title, anything like that. Even if you want to just keep the Continental Classic as a tournament now going forward, where the winner gets a championship matchup, fine. I love it. It's either way, I'm with it. I just wish they'd came up with a better name for this title instead of unified title. It just sounds weird. But I love this story right now. Do I think that it was kind of comical a little bit what they did the recent situation when they had Omega carted off on the stretcher where he was coughing up this massive amount of blood? I thought that was kind of comical as a long run. Yes, it was hilarious because it was like a little overdone there, Kenny. You could have done a little less, but okay. Didn't hurt. Kind of worked in the angle, so I'm not going to judge it that much.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this because right now we're going to see a New Japan style matchup between these two all over again. Kenny's is basically in that mode. Okada, he's not really feeling like the Okada from New Japan, but I think if you give him that opportunity in there with Omega, he will break it out. And I think it's going to be great in the long run. This might be instant match of the night. It's probably going to be match of the year candidate. It could be any one of the two of them, maybe even both. I got Omega winning the title here. I think Omega wins the title. I think it's as much as I don't think it's really bad either way. Even if Okada wins, I don't see it as a bad thing. But I do see, because of everything that they've been doing here, it's basically building to Kenny winning the title. It's basically been Kenny's fighting back story at this point from diverticulitis. This is him winning the title right here.
Okay, Jordan's doing something for my wife real quick, so I'll make my pick before him. And so, yeah, once again, I do not love the name of the Unified Championship at all, but I love the look of it. That's one thing AEW does very well is making the look of a championship. So I think they're going to put on, like you said, one of their New Japan in caliber matches with this one. But I think the one that does take it more is Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega should be on a generational run right now with just a company in general. I mean, from injuries to being out for a while, like you were mentioning, so much he dealt with. Whenever I think, if he was healthy, he'd be great. I mean, but I think Kenny deserves this more than Okada. I haven't been loving the run Okada's been on ever since he debuted. Going into that role with the EVPs and whatnot. I hated it. I like the Rainmaker. I like the Okada we had in New Japan, you know. So I haven't been loving it too much. Yeah, the comical stuff is, you know, cool at times with Okada, but it's just something I don't love for happen all the time. But I'm going Kenny Omega to win this match. I think winning that nice championship, if they rename it at some point, I would love it even more. Because, yeah, like you said, New Japan had the Intercontinental Championship already. So why not just say that one's the Intercontinental Championship? I feel like tribalism would come into that. And Tony Khan would see that and be like, okay, and that's why I'm making it the Unified Championship instead. But Kenny Omega wins. Jordan, who you got?
Man, I'm ready to see this match on Saturday, but I'm gonna go with Kenny Omega to win.
Okay, I was dreading getting to this match because I know how TK feels about her because we talked about it briefly on his show on Thursday. But we have the AEW Women's Championship between Timeless Tony Storm and the belt collector Mercedes Moné. Just save us the trouble, Justin. Who you got in this one? Jesus.
See, this is a really tough situation to be put in right now because I've been with you the entire time here. I don't like what they've been doing with Mercedes Moné. I think it's absolutely a waste. I think it's actually hurting the division. I really honestly do. I know a lot of people do not agree with me, but I don't think it's actually helping the division. The way she's gone through all these women, even as TBS champion, forget her challenging for the women's championship for a quick second. Her as TBS champion has not helped this division whatsoever because all it has been is her going through this division. It is basically just trying to wipe Jade Cargill out of the record books and put Mercedes Moné in there, as far as I see it at this point, which is a petty move as far as from anybody's perspective from Tony Khan. It's lame. It's a sad excuse for what the hell you're doing. You're not helping your division grow. You're actually pushing them down, which makes it worse. We know. Everybody has said it. You're going to get those people that are going to argue back and say that she doesn't. It's nonsense. We've heard it straight from her mouth and everybody else's mouth. She has creative control. Oh, yeah. She has whatever the hell she wants. She can do whatever the hell she wants at this point. She can book herself to win. She can basically get herself to win anything at this point going forward. And it sucks because it's not necessary. The more championships you put on her, the more of a difficult situation you put any of these other companies in right now. Because right now, it's tough to look at this situation and not go, Mercedes Moné wins the title. And that's not good because if you have her, basically, she should have lost that TBS title Wednesday night to Mina Shirakawa. If she was going to win one, she should have dropped the other. It would have made the most sense because if she's holding both, that not only damages the TBS titles like competition, it now will damage the women's championships competition, which sucks in the long run because now if anybody going forward, if by any chance, if she wins this championship going forward and somebody beats her for the TBS championship, that means now they are going to have to go in there and now are owed a women's championship matchup, which they are more than likely going to lose. So basically, if your TBS champion is got this all this momentum, like, yeah, you just won the TBS title, and now I just pinned the women's champion, and now I'm owed a women's championship match. So basically, you're going to kill their momentum by having them go in there and lose to the women's champion right off the bat. It's nonsense. This whole situation is legitimate nonsense. It's bad. It's a bad situation. But my prediction here is honestly Mercedes loses. I think Mercedes loses this because it's at that situation where she doesn't need it at this point. She can wait until she drops these titles. You need to get the rest of these titles off of her before she even touches that women's championship because you just put the entire roster in a bad situation if she wins this championship. If she wins this title, it's done. It's this entire division is doomed to fail at this point, and that's sad. It's sad going forward, but I think it does happen. I think Mercedes does lose this because the main focus needs to be at that point not putting the women's championship on her, not hindering the division anymore. It is let Tony continue to run that division until she can drop it to whoever. Mercedes needs to focus on dropping the TBS title before you even have her attempt again at that women's championship. But I do have Tony Storm winning this matchup here.
Okay.
Yeah, I really hope Tony Storm wins this match and Mercedes Moné loses it.
So yeah, to kind of add on to what you were saying, Justin, I 100% agree that whatever Tony Khan is doing with her right now is just hurting the women's division. And really, when you look at the women's division of AEW, I mean, obviously they're going to be showcased a lot in the gauntlet match earlier in the show. But I feel like the two you have right here, that's your bread and butter right here with Mercedes and Tony. That's your two biggest stars right there. And I feel like bringing in someone like Mercedes, who obviously can book herself to win no matter what, is kind of killing that division. And it's killing pretty much anything that she does. I mean, obviously the other promotions that she won the title for, I wouldn't say she has a say-so in it because I feel like the creative control is only with AEW. But I feel like if a promoter comes in there from a smaller promotion and they were like, okay, well, we want to put the title on her because I guess we want to showcase our promotion more. And if you have someone, a bigger star like Mercedes is, then obviously we want her to carry the belt over whoever else is carrying it right now. But I feel like even if you make that decision for yourself, then I feel like you're backing yourself into a corner. I said this on the show a couple weeks ago, and I feel like, and I believe you were even in the comments and you were agreeing with everything we were saying, and you were giving your input as well. But I think with Mercedes, with backing yourself into a corner, is what's the end game? I keep on asking this, but this is the third time I asked this on the third separate show. Is what's the end game with all these championships? You call her the belt collector. She has the TBS title. She has the CMLL Women's Championship. She just won. She has this indie title that she just won.
EWA title or something like that.
She has all these titles, and there's zero end game with this. So I feel like her coming to AEW, winning all these matches, going through the women's division as she's been going, in sort of sloppier matches than what I've been seeing. Like they always talk about how good she's getting in the ring or how better she is than when she was at WWE. I can't say that I agree with that because a lot of matches are sloppy. I feel like a lot of them are the other woman carrying her through the match. And it's such a sloppier finish than what we expect. So, but I feel like her coming in there and running that division as she's been running is sort of Tony Khan taking a jab at WWE. Say, oh, y'all couldn't use her the way that I'm using her, then I'm going to keep on using her more. And taking that jab at WWE any chance he can. Because she was huge in WWE before, I guess, the big incident when her and Naomi happened and, walking out and whatnot. And, Naomi came back. I feel like she's a big star over there right now. I feel like at SummerSlam, potentially, she'll be the champion if she does end up cashing it, which I am expecting. But I can't say the same for Mercedes because I feel like Mercedes was someone who was craving that creative control. And she was like, the company that offers me the money better offer me creative as well because I want to say so in what happens in my matches. And I feel like that's what we're getting. And I know Tim was in the comments just now. I feel like us saying the name Mercedes was almost like the Batman call for him to come into the comments.
Let's just be honest. Like right now, New Japan was the smartest right now when they took that New Japan Strong title off her. That was the smartest. They were the smartest ones right now because right now, the rest of the companies right now have honestly hurt themselves more than they are right now. Because it is up to them to book her. That's basically the point. Yes, we've had this discussion on air, off air so many times with anybody at this point. It is up to the companies to book her. Yes, at this point, but they're not booking her. They're not doing anything. They're literally putting their title on her and going, well, this will get us some recognition. This will get us some recognition. Has it done anything for you guys so far? Has anybody ever even acknowledged EWA since she won that title? No. Nobody probably knows what the hell EWA even is yet right now. Like,
No.
anybody has not really probably tuned into CMLL since she won the CMLL Women's Championship. She's not doing anything to help these divisions, to help these companies whatsoever. It's honestly doing more damage by putting these titles on her and going, okay, we don't have any direction from here. We're just going to strap titles on her because it just looks good to see Mercedes with 15 titles.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think she does win another one. I think she does beat Tony, unfortunately. And it kills me to say that. Like, it's a big jab in the heart to say Mercedes is winning on Saturday. But I think the route they're going, I think she does win. And honestly, what do you do with Tony after? Because they're saying that WWE fumbled Tony as much as they could have whenever they show certain pictures of her, and WWE, I think when she had like the pie to the face, I think that was like the biggest picture they used of Tony Storm when they say, oh, Triple H fumbled or Vince fumbled, whoever fumbled or whatever with Tony. She goes to AEW and she becomes one of the biggest characters over there with timeless Tony Storm. But if you make her lose to Mercedes, then what do you do? She don't have Mariah there to feud with no more. One of the best feuds that Tony had in that character with Mariah May. If she loses, what's the end game after that? I mean, I feel like Tony Khan is practically booking himself into a corner. He doesn't know which way to go with this one. If Mercedes loses, then what's the point of her winning all these championships? Championships we never even heard of at some point, and now the promotion is not even getting looked at right now because Mercedes is hogging all the championships. But if you have her win, then what's next for Tony? But I think he's going to go to Mercedes route, and I think he's going to have a few little things in his ear telling him to have Mercedes go over. And I think that person in his ear is going to be Mercedes Moné to have her go over. So I think Mercedes goes over, unfortunately, and I think there's going to be a lot of pissed off people in that stadium on Saturday. So getting to our main event, which could piss off people even more if it doesn't go how it goes, we have Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Champion, which we have not seen since, I believe, maybe October, since it was put into a briefcase with the whole Death Riders thing. So who's walking out with the either briefcase or the actual championship, Justin?
I've said it multiple times. I will not stop saying it. At this point, here on out, this needs to be Hangman. Hangman needs to win this championship. The Death Rider stuff needs to end. It has been awful. There has been all the talk about possibly saving for Darby. Do not save it for Darby. Because as far as I'm concerned, Darby threw his opportunity away to win that championship the minute he said, I want to go climb Mount Everest instead of go win a world championship.
Yep.
So you know what? Don't reward him for anything. I don't care if that man climbed the biggest mountain in the world, stuck an AEW flag on top, which he did. I understand. That's freaking awesome. He made it back down. He's on the ground right now. He's going to be involved in this. I think he is going to be involved in this because right now, his main story was ending the Death Riders. If you take the fact out that we were talking about putting the world title on him, completely take that out. His one main objective was ending the Death Riders. I think this right here in a Texas death match, this is a Texas death match. These two have had a Texas death match before with each other. This is, I literally kept saying this for months. This needs to be in Texas, the Cowboy winning in Texas in a Texas death match. It just makes the most sense. Yes, the story that has been told still is Swerve and Hangman. It's still that thing. Swerve was how Ospreay's been trying to get him to align with Hangman to end the Death Riders as a whole. And it's been Swerve basically still on the side where he's like, I don't want to work with him. I still don't trust him. I don't like him. I will not help him for anything. I have said it multiple times. This needs to be the situation where eventually it's going to be Hangman and Swerve Hangman getting the nod from Swerve, where Swerve says this situation is so bad that even if I have to help the guy that I don't like, I have to give him the acknowledgement and say, take that title and get it the hell away from the Death Riders. Yeah. That is what the ending needs to be. I think this is going to be like a WrestleMania 41 moment here, a WrestleMania 40 situation with Roman and Cody, where it was just all out overbooked chaos. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be chaos. We're going to get the Bucks showing up to try to interfere to help the Death Riders. We're going to get every freaking Death Rider under the sun coming out and getting involved in this. Ospreay and Swerve, even if they lose, you don't do the turn yet. You still get it in a situation where if the Bucks win that matchup earlier in the night, Ospreay and Swerve still come out to intervene to take care of the Bucks and help Hangman win that championship. Darby Allin, this is where I think he shows up in this situation because he wants to be involved in ending the Death Riders. It needs to be that case. Hell, if Eddie Kingston is not in that matchup and in that gauntlet matchup and ends up winning that gauntlet matchup, you can have him come out in this situation too because he's got that history with Moxley. Moxley's basically, turned his back to a different side and he's not the same guy that Eddie Kingston knows and loves. This is where you do it. You have a pure, utter, just all-out war that results in that one moment where you get that nod from Swerve to Hangman. Hangman wins the championship in Texas. And then you can kind of start telling the story again from there. Yes, we helped Hangman win the championship. That again could play in a lot of parts with a Ospreay Swerve feud going forward, where we came out and helped Hangman. I finally acknowledge that you helped Hangman, but now I can't challenge for that world championship because of that. That could bleed into that story more and more. But that needs to be the gist of this ending right here. Hangman wins the title with help and the nod from Swerve.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a Hangman. It's time for that briefcase to go.
I agree, and yeah, I think we get this type of WrestleMania 40 type ending. I think it's going to be chaos at the end of this match. If we don't see Darby, like we were mentioning in the Gauntlet match, which I think you would kind of waste him in that match. Because, like you said, he threw his opportunity away to go climb Mount Everest. He took himself off of TV. He took himself pretty much out of AEW to go climb that. And, I don't think he should be rewarded with a championship match the moment he comes back. But I do still think he does come back at All In. And I think it is to assist Hangman in winning the championship. It's going to give me some sort of vibe as we got whenever it was Hangman and Kenny for the title, and whenever the Bucks gave him that nod to give him the buckshot and win the AEW championship. I think we get that sort of similar thing from, I would say, Swerve. I think Swerve and Hangman had the best rivalry, and they beat the shit out of each other. Hell, Hangman burned down Swerve's like childhood home or whatever that he had, and so why not have that happen? I mean, yeah, like it is going to be chaos. Every member of the Death Riders, the Young Bucks, I mean, they're all going to come out. And then, seeing Swerve and Ospreay, seeing potentially Darby come out, Kingston, if he does come. I feel like any person that wants the Death Riders to end is going to come out and assist Hangman. And then the final picture we're going to see in Swerve giving Hangman that nod, and we're going to see him give Mox the buckshot and win that championship. And I think, like you said, a Texas death match in Texas, I think it's only fitting for Hangman to win this match. I think it would be a horrible decision, and you would kill any momentum the crowd has for having Mox win. If you're going to kill the momentum by having Mercedes win and then have Mox retain, I think you go from an amazing potential of a show to just having people shit on it on the internet.
The scary thing to think of here is if this isn't the main event. If this ends up not being the main event and Omega and Okada is the main event, there's your worry. That tells you right there that they knew they were going with Moxley to win this matchup, and they didn't want it to be the main event and have people go home disappointed.
I never thought about that.
Just keep your eyes on the card. If the card happens on Saturday and this is not the main event, if it somehow by rare chance is not the main event, be very concerned.
I'll be very concerned if that happens. But if it is the main event, obviously, I think Heyman does take it. If he's not the main event, that's going to worry me. So for now, I'll take Heyman to win the title, to finally end this Death Riders nonsense, take that title out of that briefcase, and for one, bring some life back to AEW. I feel like that's what AEW needs. It needs Hangman as the champion. It needs the end of the Death Riders, and like I said, bring some life back to that company, and it might actually get me to start watching again. So I'm just praying that Hangman wins that championship. So same question for NXT. What's the hype level for All In?
This one I'm super excited for. This is honestly the most excited, the most exciting show I think of the weekend right here is All In. Honestly, strong, and I mean strong 9 for me on this show. I am excited. There's this show as a whole, as much as even the stuff that I'm like worried and I think is kind of a waste and disappointing and just anything else like that. I think because of the fact of this matchup here, Okada, the Bucks matchup, just those 3 matches as a whole, I'm excited for. They have me so excited that I'm excited for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go 9.5.
Yeah, I think I'll go a 9.5 out of 10 as well. This is a really good card. I mean, if they play their cards right, this could be easily one of the best shows for AEW. Hell, one of the best shows for professional wrestling this year. I mean, it has potential. It has that great card. I mean, so don't screw it up and have the wrong people win. Even though I think one of the wrong people will win this match, but I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, it has so much potential. So moving on to our last show on Saturday, only 3 matches confirmed right now. It's Saturday night's main event from Atlanta, Georgia. First match, I will kick it off with Seth Rollins and LA Knight. Seth Rollins is feuding with a lot of people. He's getting his feud, I guess, out of the way, or getting his first with LA Knight. I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be very good. But I do see some stuff happening being with all the people he's feuding with Seth Rollins. So, Justin, who you rolling with?
It's going to sound crazy to say, but I got LA Knight winning this, honestly. Like, I know Rollins has got the big heel faction on Monday Night Raw. It's, the one you got to pay attention to. They're really still kind of building that up big time as this dominant faction. But honestly, LA Knight needs the win.
He does.
It's not going to kill Seth Rollins right now to take an L to LA Knight. So I got Knight winning this.
Okay.
Yeah, I got LA Knight, winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a sweep across the board. I got LA Knight winning as well. I think LA Knight wins this, and he needs this. He needs it way more than Seth needs it. But something tells me some shit's going to happen during it. We'll get an appearance by the 2 Bronze. But will we get CM Punk? Will we get maybe Penta? Something like that. I think we do. And LA Knight is the one that capitalizes from it and gets to win. Then we have a match that was made after Friday night on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton.
Drew just came back. Randy, honestly, if you remember what he said on SmackDown, he was looking at Cody Rhodes and saying, listen, I was the one who kind of got a little feisty, and I ended up getting screwed, and I ended up screwing myself out of it. But you know what? If that's going to be the case of, the way Randy looked at Cody after that King of the Ring matchup, not looking too happy with Cody Rhodes right now. So as much as he gave him the nod and said, listen, go to SummerSlam, beat John Cena, that needs to be kind of the situation where Randy's kind of not going to end up winning a lot of matches. Like I said, Drew just came back, so I think Drew needs this win. So I got Drew.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, same here. I got Drew as well. I think he could use it. I mean, like I said, he's been out for a little bit, and something tells me that Randy. I would hate to see Randy take another loss, but also I think Drew would possibly need it more than Randy does. And let's just get this one out the way. We have what's going to be probably a sweat fest between Gunther and Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's in Atlanta. Goldberg's from Atlanta. I pray that I'm not speaking something into existence. But Justin, who you got winning the title?
I've seen a few people talking about this and saying that if Seth Rollins loses to LA Knight, that he's cashing in at the end of the night. Honestly, I think there's a little bit of a story that can involve Seth Rollins using that cash in a little bit more than this situation here.
Mm-hmm.
That situation, though, involves what happened last Monday on Monday Night Raw. When CM Punk came out and confronted Seth Rollins, but then kind of got in a little situation with Gunther, that tells you right there, that's your SummerSlam matchup right there. Gunther and CM Punk for the World Championship is your SummerSlam matchup. That right there screams everything of when we're getting our cash in. CM Punk is the one to dethrone Gunther, and as he is standing there celebrating, Seth Rollins takes it from him, which then involves more of that story, Punk chasing again, and then we get through all their feud. And like I said, Sami Zayn is the main focus here from the rest of the year into Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Sami wins at Saudi. Sami goes to WrestleMania to face Seth Rollins for the World Championship. Sami Zayn wins the World Championship at WrestleMania. But the only way you get to that situation is right now. You got to get through this. Mm-hmm. This is going to be an easy matchup. This should not take freaking anything longer than 5 minutes at the most. That's the most this matchup should go, is 5 minutes. If you want to have, Gunther look like he's going to defeat him in with ease, but then you give Goldberg his little hope spots where he hits a spear and a jackhammer, and we're like, oh my God, is he going to take the title? Don't do this. How could you do this? No. Give him his little hope spots. Gunther kicks out. Gunther puts him to sleep. Gunther goes to SummerSlam to face Punk, and then you go from there with the rest of the story. But Gunther retains the title here.
Yeah, I think Gunther retains, and then Goldberg gonna be sweating walking to the ring. So
he's sweating before he gets out of the locker room.
We saw him in that fucking promo, when he first came back. Dude was drenched. This is gonna be a sweat, dude. He's gonna be it's gonna be a fucking slip and slide in the damn ring, bro. It's gonna be bad. But I do have Gunther winning. I mean, like you were saying, like the hopeful spots that Goldberg has, the spear, jackhammer. I think that Gunther kicks out, and the night should end with Gunther putting Goldberg to sleep. I think that's the best case scenario for it. So Gunther wins, and he continues his reign over Goldberg, and that I believe is advertised as Goldberg's last match.
Yes, it is.
In Atlanta, where he's from. So, yeah. So, any hype level for this one on the cards? Pretty okay. I mean, aside from Goldberg, cards okay right now. They're going to add a little bit more, I think.
Probably the show I'm least excited for, honestly. I've never really been into these Saturday night's main event shows. They're just kind of blah for me. Mm-hmm. And, the fact that we had to get a Goldberg matchup does not pique my interest whatsoever. So, probably like a 4 for me.
I'll go 5.
Yeah, I'll go like 4.5. I'm not crazy excited for it. This is a lot of filler stuff, stuff they're just making, and nothing crazy exciting about it. Then we get to our last show of the weekend. It is the second annual Evolution PLE. A lot of people advocated for it. We're finally getting it, and the card's pretty decent. I mean, I'm not crazy about the card. I feel like a lot of it's just randomly put together stuff so they can give people what they want with this show. But we kick off with a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. We have the champion Becky Lynch against Lyra Valkyria and Bayley.
Oh, this is the tough one because my whole thing was if Becky's going to win this championship, it eventually has to come full circle to Lyra winning the title back. This should be the whole situation of getting Lyra over. As much as everybody loves Bayley already, everyone loves Becky. Lyra's the one that's kind of still in the situation where everyone's just like, yeah, we like her, but there's still those people that don't really like her. This should have been a whole build of eventually Becky and Lyra going one-on-one one more time with Lyra winning the title back. And then you could have had Bayley come back. Now that you have Bayley involved here, it's a very weird situation how they've been handling it. Because honestly, they've made Lyra incredibly unlikable lately. Like the way she's been acting. Bayley's been getting some dry reactions. Becky's kind of in a situation where a lot of people are just like, okay, not big on this Becky. I would have said this goes back to Lyra, but right now, as much as it would scream, even Bayley wins the championship here because of, them using the Bayley gets taken out at WrestleMania thing. So Lyra has to call Becky to be her tag team partner. This would call for Bayley winning the title as well. I think Becky retains here, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Becky retaining.
Yeah, same here. I got Becky retaining. I mean, this match doesn't excite me whatsoever. I feel like a lot of dry reactions for all three, to be honest. I mean, I think Lyra maybe would get the better reaction out of the three because I don't think Becky really has done. I mean, as far as reaction goes, isn't what it used to be. I think Lyra has the bigger chance of becoming the bigger one out of all three right now. But I think Becky wins and retains it. Then we got Jade and Naomi in a no holds barred match.
See, this is where, again, I have basically said that with Jade going to SummerSlam to face the WWE Women's Champion, you need to get the situation where Jade is going to end up winning that championship. Naomi's going to cash in as she's celebrating. It's going to be another one of the situations, kind of like with Punk, how we just talked about before, with Rollins cash in. I think it's going to kind of be in the same situation where Jade is going to win this championship from Tiffany Stratton, which I guess just kind of gave away my prediction for what's going to happen with that matchup. But Tiffany's going to end up dropping that championship to Jade at SummerSlam with Naomi cashing in on her as she's sitting there celebrating, which then forces Jade to chase. My main issue still with this story was what they did at WrestleMania. As much as it made sense, Jade winning, getting her revenge after what happened with Naomi pushing her into the windshield. This right now, that matchup still, to me, had the wrong outcome. You were trying to establish Naomi's heel character. You didn't do a good way to start it off by having her lose, in my honest opinion. Right now, she should have won that matchup at WrestleMania, which could have continued this more on into it now. I do think Jade wins this one here. I think Naomi's going to end up losing this, sadly, because you're not going to have Tiffany, or you're not going to have Jade going into her SummerSlam matchup for the Women's Championship with an L on her side right now. So I think Jade's going to end up winning this matchup here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Jade Cargill in this one.
I think Jade wins at Evolution and Naomi gets her revenge by cashing in at SummerSlam. I think the entire world is predicting that to happen.
Yes.
So, yeah, like you said, Jade can't go into SummerSlam with an L at all. So then we got, if you want to talk random matches, this is it right here. We have Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship. I don't love it at all. So random. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all know who we're going with, but who you got, Justin?
I got Tiffany retaining. It was cool to see Trish. It's just random as hell that she just comes back. I think they've done a bad job with this whole just the champions get to pick their challengers for Evolution. Kind of lame. Yet you went through this whole debacle on NXT to challenge for JC Jane's title with a little tournament that ended in a fatal 4-way that ended up getting a number 1 contender. Hell of a lot better idea than just saying the champions get to pick.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a decent matchup between these two, but Trish ain't winning that title. So Tiffany retains.
Yep, I'm going with my girl, Tiffany Stratton.
Time.
Yeah, I'm going Tiffy as well. It's so random, and taking the title off of Tiffany Stratton right now to Trish would be a really questionable call, but I'm going Tiffany. Then we got the NXT Women's Championship, JC Jane and Jordynne Grace.
See, the minute I've been in a bad debacle here ever since they did what they did with Stephanie Vaquer. When JC Jane won that title, I was still flabbergasted. I'm still flabbergasted to this day. I don't know how the hell I could even react to that still, but it was still a shocker in such a big moment because I kept saying this for months on end right now. If the main reason was to get the NXT Women's Championship on Jordynne Grace, why was Jordynne not the one to defeat Stephanie Vaquer at, I believe it was Battleground? Why did she not beat Stephanie at that pay-per-view if she was going to get called up? Putting it on JC to me doesn't make any sense still to this day. I was going to say at this point that I honestly believe you have Jordynne Grace win this. I still think she was going to win this championship. And now with this announcement of title versus title and, JC going in there to face, Masha Slamovich at Slammiversary for title versus title. It's a massive announcement. I still don't understand why we're doing title versus title. Like, that concerns me. It confuses me. I don't know how to react to it. But right now, I don't think anymore that Jordynne wins the title. I think JC's going to end up retaining going into it. But then it really makes a really good point here is you've had Blake Monroe interact with the NXT Women's Champion in JC Jane multiple times. So my one thought of here is before Slammiversary at any point, does JC Jane drop that title to Blake Monroe? And then we get Blake Monroe versus Masha Slamovich at Slammiversary. That's a massive matchup for Slammiversary.
It is.
So that's been my honest thought now going forward. My Jordynne Grace wins the title choice goes out the window here. I do think JC retains here because Blake Monroe is eventually going to win that championship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got JC Jane winning.
It would suck to see Jordynne Grace losing another opportunity at it, but I mean, it's hard to see JC losing it since Blake Monroe's in the picture now. If she wasn't in the picture, she never came to NXT, I would say Jordynne Grace by a mile. Because it still makes no sense that JC took it off of Stephanie whenever Jordynne Grace could have did it. And funny enough, I came across the video of your reaction to that earlier today, actually. So weird coincidence. But yeah, JC wins. She does retain. And should be pretty good. I mean, it should be a good match. Fatal Influence obviously gets involved. They'll be at ringside. Does Blake get involved? I don't know. Maybe. Do we even see maybe an appearance by Masha Slamovich? Maybe. There could be some TNA names. I know that 2 of them were talked about in this. But I don't know. But JC Jane does retain, though. Then our next match, there's no updated graphic as the one I just popped up. But we do have the women's tag team champions. Jordan, I popped it up already. You don't have to do it. I got All right, so we had the Judgment Days, Raquel and Roxanne Perez, who was like the interim member with Live Out, versus a Raw tag team, SmackDown tag team, which we already know is Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and an NXT tag team. I know the Raw tag team, a lot of people talking of Maxine and Natalia. NXT is being talked maybe Sol Ruka and Zarya. Yeah. But it makes me wonder if they don't do it for the next match. I know a lot of people and even the journalists are even bringing up the Iconics who were in NXT and the main roster. Their names are being talked about, being floated around, coming to Evolution. Could they be potentially in this as well? I mean, could you add a fifth team to this and have them in it? Or could they make an appearance at a show at like NXT and they win the match and they're the NXT tag team that's in it? Something like that. I mean, I feel like a lot of possibilities are endless with this one. But Justin, who you got?
Honestly, it doesn't really matter who you fill in the last two teams with, honestly, because from here, I don't see Roxanne and Raquel losing these titles. I think right now, Liv's injury really threw a big wrench in a lot of this. I honestly do think it really did throw a big wrench in what this was going to be here. And that sucks because I think the story is going to be good when these two eventually do drop the women's tag team titles, because Liv comes back and finds out that Raquel and her couldn't hold on to the tag team titles. Liv's going to take it out on Roxanne, and it's going to be great. Honestly, their story going forward. But honestly, I've been enjoying the Judgment Day's little descent there with Finn Balor kind of being the guy to stir the pot every time he gets the opportunity. That's been great. But I don't see them dropping the titles now. I don't think they drop them here because I think you have to find a different situation where they drop the tag team titles. But I think you have to wait until Liv gets closer to returning before you do that first.
Yeah, I got them retaining. I don't see them losing it.
Same here. Yeah, I have Roxanne and Raquel retaining. I mean, you can add whoever you want to that. I still think they win it. Then we have a women's battle royal, and the winner gets a women's world championship shot at Clash in Paris. This is where I think you could see maybe some returning names. I think if you want to add a little bit of oomph to the show, I think you bring back some of the names that are being rumored. I know that Paige was writing on Twitter asking when Evolution was. I don't know if she's just having people try to call out on her bluff. I know people are still holding out their hope for AJ Lee. I don't see it happening. I think that has been thrown out for a long time for me. But I do think you see some names come back in this match. It's an all women's PLE. They don't get that very often. This is their second one since 2018 is when they had the first one. I think you have to go big on this battle royal. That's what a battle royal is for returning people and whatnot. Is there any confirmed names even in this match?
There's 3 so far.
Okay, there's 3.
There's Ivy Nile, Nia Jax, and Stephanie Vaquer.
Okay, I think there's an obvious favorite out of those 3 names. I mean, is that to save the trouble? Is that who we're all going with? I mean,
probably, because that's who I was going with Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm going Stephanie.
The winner getting a match
I'm going
in Paris. Come on.
Yeah.
And that's the women's world champion. That's the one that the main event's going for, Rhea and Io, correct? Okay. I mean, that's the dream matchup of Rhea and Stephanie. That would be the dream matchup at Clash in Paris, if that's the way they go with it. So then we get to the main events of Io Sky and Jordan and Rhea Ripley. This is Io's first defense since WrestleMania. That's wild. That's absolutely wild to say that. Does she lose her first defense since WrestleMania to Rhea Ripley? I know a lot of people, if they're betting money on this, they're going Rhea Ripley. But who y'all going with?
I hate saying this. I think Io does lose. Her reign's been awful. And it's not even her fault. It's WWE's. It's the second time they've done this. They gave her the WWE Women's Championship when she was on SmackDown. She had an awful reign that led to her losing to Bayley.
Mhm.
And it's just basically the same situation here. And as much as, it's, disappointing because everybody loves EO and everybody was so happy for her to win the world championship. It's been so bad that you can't really justify her keeping this championship. As much as it feels like Rhea Ripley now is going to get over pushed because she's basically constantly still, yes, she's the biggest woman right now in the entire division. If you think of the women's division, you think Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
And her as world champion, it's another situation where even her world title run the first time wasn't really that good. It was really underbooked for the most part. And I hopefully they'll do better, but I think because of the fact that you have Crown Jewel coming up in Perth soon, you want her going into Perth as your world champion. So I think Rhea wins the title here. I think it's the only title change on the show we're getting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rhea winning.
Yeah, I'm going to Rhea as well. It's for one, it's not EO's fault. I mean, I feel like all the champions have been booked pretty rough lately so far by WWE. So that's not her fault that her reign has been so bad. And crazy part is, I think Rhea's going to be booked a lot better as champion than EO was. I think she's going to defend it a lot more, and we'll get it showcased a lot more than EO did. And that's unfortunate for EO because I was hoping she had a great reign with it. But Rhea's going to win. I think she's going to close out Evolution as the champion, and we can shape up for her and a Stephanie at Clash. I mean, that's something that people are going to look forward to for sure. But one last time, what's the hype level for Evolution? The ladies have the opportunity to show out this week and prove a lot of people wrong with the attendance numbers right now because they booked a big arena. The attendance ain't looking fantastic. I mean, but they have a chance to prove a lot of people wrong.
I think honestly, compared to the 2018 show, this one's not as exciting. Honestly, it's kind of it's like a little bit exciting, but it's not as exciting. I don't know why. It just feels off still about it. So I would probably fit this at about a 5. It's like a middle of the road kind of decision where I'm like 50-50 on it. So
I'll go at 5 too.
Yeah, 5 as well for me. I think a flat 5 in the middle is the perfect pick for this show. I do hope they prove me wrong, prove all of us wrong, prove the internet wrong, because a lot of people are not excited about it at all. So I do hope that they do prove a lot of people wrong. But that will do it finally for this quadruple prediction show for the World Elite podcast. Justin, of course, man, it's always a great time having you on. Wanted to get you out of time to where you can be on COD in less than 30 minutes. It's looking like, it's 6:33 right now, 7:33 your time. So I wanted to get out. Yeah, I wanted to get you out enough time to get yourself prepped for the Raw watch along on COD later on, which I will be tuning into as well. But where can the listeners find you at, Justin, on social media?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram at just_in_time211, on X at JustinTime211. Circle of Debate. You want to find me? That's where I am basically every night. YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Of course, join the watch alongs, hang out. And of course, here, if you want me, I will be here most of the time as well. I always love being with these guys as well. But I'm mostly everywhere. I go wherever. Whenever you need somebody to fill in. That's why I call myself the Joe Hendry of podcasting. Okay. If you need a guest, I will appear. So there you go.
Absolutely. Jordan, where can we find you at, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Jordan_J2000.
That's right. You can find me at DylanAber_. You can find the podcast at World Elite Pod. Same handle on Instagram, World Elite Podcast on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find the audio versions of this podcast on any major platform. We do have merchandise. It's in our description. I have not updated it in quite some time, but given some time, I will go update it with the new logo and whatnot. The old one's still there, but I'll do some updating sooner or later. All the sponsorships and affiliates also can be found in the description if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. But that will do it. I hope everyone enjoys Monday Night Raw tonight, NXT, AEW, and all the SmackDown, all the shows this weekend. If you see the live button on Circle of Debate, Justin more than likely will be on every single one that they'll be on, so you can go check that out as well. But Justin, once again, I do appreciate you for coming on last minute. We were kind of expecting a couple other faces, but when that time comes, we will have them on as well. But Justin, it's always appreciated for you to come on as well, man.
Appreciate you guys as always for letting me come on.
Absolutely. Well, everyone enjoy Raw tonight. Have a great week, and we will see you on next Monday, same time, same place, 5 o'clock Central. Y'all have a great day.
Deuces.